Planetary yogas are configurations of planets that yoke an individual to the fruits of their karmas. But quite often people will see these particular combinations in a horoscope and get very excited, either because it's a wealth-producing yoga or a success-producing yoga, and they'll jump to conclusions that when a specific time comes to pass that great things are going to happen in their lives, only to find out that it doesn't really happen. And that's because planetary yogas really have to be qualified properly. In addition to that, oftentimes planets are involved in both beneficial yogas and equally difficult yogas. And if the planet has more of a capacity to yield its difficult fruits, those more difficult yogas will be more active than will the beneficial yogas. On the 10th of March next year, I'm going to be starting a 44-week webinar course. And on this course, we will teach the technique that will help you to properly qualify planetary yogas. If you are interested in registering for this course and you wish to register before this coming Friday, the 14th of December, there is a 15% discount available for course registration. You can register either by trimester or by paying in full, and you can do that at the link above in this video. And just to really kind of show you the drastic difference between things, I thought I would do this particular video showing two particular charts. One chart, that of a saint, and the other chart, that of a serial killer. So we can see the vast difference between the good and bad effects of a yoga. And interestingly enough, both of these charts that I'm going to use as an example today, they have what are called Moksha yogas, which are liberation yogas. And these are some very simple yogas that show the spiritual tendencies that can be inherent in a horoscope. It'll show the spiritual potential. But if those particular factors are yielding more of their difficult fruits than they are their beneficial fruits, then there can be, not always, but can be the potential for those things to be perverted to a certain extent. So, and obviously other factors would have to indicate in the horoscope, but we're just doing a simple example today. So I've chosen two charts. And first of all, let's explain, before I go into these charts, what exactly these yogas involve. So what are the moksha houses? Those houses would be the 4th, the 8th, and the 12th houses of the horoscope. The 4th house can give us the deep feelings that begin to move us onward towards doing very 8th house things, which are creating transformation and change in our life. 8th house also tends to bring upheaval in our lives that changes us. Sometimes that traumatizes us, sometimes it causes us to make positive shifts in our life, right? The 12th house deals with loss, and it equally deals with the concept of liberation. We have to let go of something in order to gain something else, and just some simple concepts. When these are combined with angles of the chart, or the lords of the angles, which are the 1st, the 4th, the 7th, and the 10th houses, in specific ways, they have the potential to create, when there are positive associations with these planets, they have the potential to create liberation for an individual, or a person can be on a spiritual path and move towards liberation, and if it's supported in the chart, actually achieve that. Now, when these planets tend to yield more of their negative results, the individual may have this energy moving within them that they don't know how to channel in a positive direction. They just know that they're not happy with the state of affairs in their universe, and so they move to make a shift or make a change or try to set themselves free, and that impulse moves them in negative directions quite often that can lead to hardship for the individual, or in the case of the one that we're going to see, potentially confinement. Okay, so just to give you a general idea of how very similar things in the horoscope can create drastically different things if the planets don't have the potential to yield positive fruits. And we're going to look at first at the horoscope of Meher Baba, who was a spiritual master who devoted himself to silence for his life. And when we look at this particular horoscope, we have a few of these permutations actually. Over here we have Venus, which is the lord of the fourth, and Venus is placed in Saturn's sign, and Saturn is the lord of the 12th. Venus is in the first, right? Venus is the lord of the fourth, a moksha house, and it's placed in the first, okay? But it's equally the lord of an angle, and it's associated with the 12th lord, which is Saturn. In addition to that, Venus rules Saturn, so we have the 12th lord here in Venus's sign. So here we have an association between these two factors. Also, we have an interaction between the Sun and Mercury. The Sun is the lord of the 7th, which is an angle, and it's joined together with Mercury, the lord of the 8th. In addition to that, we've got Mars, which is the lord of the 10th in Meher Baba's horoscope, and Mars is placed in the 12th. So we have a few of these combinations. The strongest is actually Mars. Mars's potential is much stronger than the weakness that it brings to the horoscope. Saturn is pretty solid too, with 9.8 over 2.2. The Sun is weaker because the Sun, even though it has potential, it causes more difficulty to the horoscope, as does Mercury. Mercury's kind of a little more even-keeled, but still higher in difficulties than it is in potential. And when we look at Venus, Venus is stronger, brings more strong potential to the horoscope than it does weakness. So the strongest ones are those involving Venus, Saturn, and Mars. Interestingly enough, I believe it was 1922 when Meher Baba was in his Saturn-Venus dasha that he began to attract a following of students for his mission in life. Okay, and so this is just showing us how these factors for liberation, how strong and how full of potential they are. But again, you have to qualify them correctly. All of these planets, if we look, they are stronger than they are weaker. Venus is stronger than it is weak. It's got more green than it does red. Same with Saturn, more green, less red. Okay, now let's look at completely the opposite. So we're going to look at the chart of Charles Manson. And in Manson's chart, what we see is Venus as the lord of the first is joined together with Jupiter, who's the lord of the 8th. Okay, in addition to that, you've got the Sun, which is the lord of the 4th equal house. Ignore the house cusps here, that's what these numbers are. But this is the 4th equal house ruled by the Sun, and that is joined together with Jupiter, who is the lord of the 8th equal house. So when we look at all of those planets, the Sun has very minimum potential to do good in the horoscope, and quite a lot of potential to wreak havoc, right? 0.9 versus 18.5. And when we look at Venus, Venus is 1.2 to 19.7. And when you look at Jupiter, Jupiter is 0 to a whopping 38, right? So interestingly enough, Manson was in prison for his crimes during 1971. That's when he was convicted and actually sent to jail. So planetary yogas don't always show us at first glance the reality of the individual. We might look at this chart, and if we didn't qualify these yogas appropriately, or if we went in and did something like just look at planetary dignity, we might see that this person, was going to be some, spiritual master, right? If we just did it at first glance. And that's often a lot of what happens with people, is they tend to not look at things fully. in the horoscope, and they don't know how to actually qualify the yogas, which you can't qualify the yogas simply by dignity. There's a wonderful mathematical process that Parashara gave us in Brihat Parashara Horashastra. That's what I'm going to be sharing on this course, and that can help us to determine if a planet's going to yield more of its beneficial results than it is going to yield its more difficult results. Again, if you're interested in registering for this course and you want to do so before this coming Friday, the 14th of December, there is a 15% discount available for the course registration, regardless of whether you register by paying in full or register by trimester. And if you register by trimester, your discount is locked in for the remainder of the course. So if you want to register and are willing to register early, you'll get the benefit of that. After the 14th, the fees are going to go back up to their normal price. And it's already reduced on the website if you just want to go directly there and register. And you can do so at the link above. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye now.